morning, everybody. We're going to get started here in just a minute. If you are on the speakers list, please come up to the podium right now. That'd be Mr. Chu. Our mayor's here. Megan, Tim, and Taryn. All right, the gang's all here. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, y'all may want to move a little bit more this way. The PA system is over here, so if you want to hear. We don't really have an MC this morning, so people are just going to kind of come up in order. So I'm Diane with the mayor's office. If you have any questions later that we can help you with, let us know. And with that, I will turn things over to Mr. Chu. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Edward Chu. I'm EPA Region 7 Acting Administrator. We're based in Kansas City, our regional offices, and we serve the 4 states in this area, including Nebraska. And I want to first, before we get started, thank you, Mayor, for hosting us today and welcoming us to this great city. And I'm really, really glad to be here today, not only to celebrate what we're here to celebrate, but the fact that we actually could get out and be with each other. And I have to admit that I have not seen several of my staff members for about 12 months, I think, about 13 months. So this is the first time that we've been together. And this is our one of our first events that we're doing post-pandemic. So we're really excited to be here. Let me begin by sharing that President Biden has recognized the importance of EPA's brownfields program in building back our country's economy and addressing environmental justice concerns by including significant new investments in the program under the American Jobs Plan, as well as the administration's fiscal year 2020 budget proposals. As you know, grants awarded by EPA's brownfields program provide communities across the country with an opportunity to transform contaminated sites into community assets that attract jobs and achieve broader economic development objectives. While taking advantage of existing infrastructure, we are not creating new developments in open space. Mayor, I'm really pleased to announce that EPA has selected the City of Lincoln for a 2021 $800,000 brownfields multi-purpose grant this year. Congratulations. Lincoln is the only community in Nebraska to be selected this year for funding through our brownfields multi-purpose assessment and cleanup grants. I understand that this funding will allow the city to both assess properties for potential contamination as well as conduct cleanup activities. And we all know that good development doesn't just happen. It has to be deliberate and well designed with a clear vision for the future. And Mayor, you and your city and your staff have a clear vision of that future. And now with your selection for the $800,000 award, you are one step closer to making that vision a reality. You and your staff should be extremely proud of your city's selection for this funding this year. The work the city has done in the West Haymarket is a prime example of how a community can use EPA assistance to leverage funding, technical assistance, and community support to drive and expand economic growth. We at EPA are particularly excited about the use of urban agriculture in your project plan. Greening an underutilized property through urban agriculture can improve the environment, build amenities, revitalize neighborhoods, and have direct benefits to residents' food, access, and nutrition. This is a win-win situation, and we really like this project plan. You'll hear more about the project plan itself from our guest, directly from our guest shortly. So let me just say a little more about the brownfields work. You know that this type of brownfields work is compounding and have long-lasting impacts for the residents of Lincoln, as demonstrated by the community right behind us at West Haymarket. By capitalizing on brownfields funding, Lincoln is making a very smart investment. not just in building a safer and more attractive neighborhoods and amenities for your residents, but also achieving broader economic development outcomes. Should I pause a little? Okay, great. Okay, as you already know, brownfields grant have shown great additional benefits. For instance, brownfields grants have known to increase tax revenues for municipalities. A study of 48 brownfield sites around the country have found that estimated 30 to 100 million in additional local tax revenue was generated in a single year after cleanup. In addition, it also increases residential property values. It showed that 5 to 15% in residential property value increase after a cleanup. That's a big deal for local communities. Mayor, you and your staff looked at this particular plot of land and other plots around here, and I have to say that you're seeing potential and you have a vision for this property, but I have to be really honest and say all I see is a gravel lot. So I know that the vision and the plan that you're coming up really takes not only a great deal of effort, but a lot of visioning for the future and what your community could achieve on this particular property and beyond. Congratulations again, and I look forward to returning to this site as we always do and stay at the West Haymarket when EPA employees return to Lincoln to always remind us of the work that we are doing with the City of Lincoln to continue to revitalize this community. And we have been a partner with you since 2005, as I understand it. And so before I turn it over to the mayor, I do want to have a shout out for our project manager, Jennifer Morris. If you can raise your hand, Jennifer. I believe Jennifer, I can't say Jennifer has been here since 2005, but I know EPA has been a partner with the City of Lincoln, with all of you since 2005, and I believe this is the third award that we have for you from the Brownfields program. So it is now my honor to turn the podium over to the mayor and other distinguished guests. Mayor.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Chu, for your leadership and your service and for being with us here today in person for this wonderful announcement. And thank you as well to Jennifer Morris and to Stan Walker and all of our partners at the EPA, an agency that has been absolutely instrumental in transforming the former rail yard into a new and vibrant West Haymarket area, really turning an eyesore into an icon. That transformation is now moving south, and we have really exciting plans for the South Haymarket development. And we couldn't do this, of course, without our partners at the state. So thank you to Taryn Servitowski and everyone at NDEE as well. And I just have to say, yes, thank you. I'm so proud to represent the people of Lincoln. The people of Lincoln are the reason that we're all here today, from Councilwoman Tammy Ward, who's been a leader long before she became a council member, to Tim and Megan and everyone who has really pushed for change, positive change that'll help us leave Lincoln a better place than we found it. I'm so grateful to each and every person who has built the momentum to move this train forward. Brownfield grants like this one certainly align with our local climate action plan goals, and they do more than clean up polluted ground. They also create more opportunities to build more housing, provide additional parkland, address local food security, advance environmental justice, and improve our community's health and well-being. The public value is truly tremendous. And all we need to do is to look north to recognize the tremendous growth of the Haymarket and all that it's realized in the last decade, in large part due to those previous brownfields grants and assistance from the Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy. The community vision for this specific location includes mixed-use development and new parkland to the west, which is being developed on an old brownfield site itself. An exciting opportunity budgeted into this new grant gives Lincoln the chance to formalize plans and activities and dreams related to urban agriculture in this district. And possibilities abound in this area for commercial and community gardens, greenhouses and market facilities, and all of them, of course, responsibly designed and built with specific considerations for the value of ecosystem services to these flood-prone areas of our community. 3 champions for urban agriculture programs in Lincoln are here with us today. As I mentioned, Councilwoman Tammy Ward, whose district covers the Haymarket and West Haymarket area, and she's also a fellow gardener and hamleteer. So Councilwoman Ward, thank you for being here. Megan McGuffey is the executive, thank you. Megan McGuffey is the executive director of Community Crops, the organization that administers community gardens and other ag-based programs here in Lincoln. Megan, thank you so much for your leadership. And then Tim Renna, who is the proud co-founder of the Holly Hamlet Oasis. And his visits to the mayor's office also often involve jars of honey and fresh green beans that he's grown, and we're so proud for the inspiration he provides. And Tim's also the chair of the Lincoln-Lancaster County Food Policy Council, so thank you for your leadership, Tim. Megan and Tim are going to share, yes, applause all around. Megan and Tim are going to share some thoughts on how this grant will benefit the area and help to advance urban agriculture in Lincoln, and I'd like to hand the microphone over to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to Councilwoman Tammy Ward for your tireless advocacy of local food issues. And thank you to the many city staff members, especially Frank Ularic and Mickey Esposito, who helped turn these priorities into action. Over the past 18 years, helping people grow and enjoy local food here in Lincoln, Nebraska, Community Crops has consistently seen how land access and land tenure, knowing you have access to the same piece of land year after year, is critical to helping people successfully grow food for their families and as a business. We are grateful to the EPA for investing in our community and bringing environmental justice, repairing these lands and returning them as true assets to our community. We're lucky here in Nebraska because we have a great climate and lots of open land that should create the ideal environment for local food production. However, local food does not happen by accident. Community Crops does not own any land of the 6+ acres that we currently operate gardens and farms on. So we know how important visionary land partners are to growing local food. This project shows that the City of Lincoln understands that the food system is like the water system or the transportation system, a critical piece of infrastructure that requires planning and investment in order to help our community thrive. Community Crops is proud to continue providing technical assistance, education, and other resources to help gardeners and farmers succeed in growing local food in our community. We have seen the joy it brings Lincoln residents to spend time in nature, to grow food for their families and for their neighbors, and to practice their cultural food traditions. Food, from the way it's produced to the way we prepare and enjoy it in community, is a foundational part of all of our identities. Local food is the future. When we invest in local food, we invest in the local economy. We make our community healthier by making fresh, nutritious food more readily available. And we make Lincoln a better place to live. Local food creates and reflects our local culture and helps Lincoln celebrate what makes it a uniquely wonderful place to live. Thank you again to our city officials and to the EPA for making this project possible. Community Crops is excited to be here today celebrating this new chapter of investment and building a resilient local food system for our community. Thank you.
I never imagined this morning that there'd be a good chance that I wouldn't be able to read my notes because of all the bright glare, all right? All right. Good morning. And I want to thank Mayor Gaylor Baird, Northwest City Councilwoman Tammy Ward, Senior Policy Advisor Mickey Esposito, who is not here today but has been instrumental, and our unflagging local food advocate at City Hall, Frank Ilaric, for bringing urban agriculture right into downtown Lincoln. And I especially want to express my thanks to each of them for helping make food growing in the city cool. We Lincolnites love our food. When it comes to food eating, we're right there, chowing down not only on breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but coffee and a donut, a Coke and a candy bar, milk and cookies, beer and popcorn, some chips, a banana. We're eating and drinking pretty much constantly. The sad thing is that renowned agricultural powerhouse that Nebraska is, hardly any of what we chomp away on comes from here. 90% of what we buy and eat is imported, meaning we're shipping our food dollars out of state and missing out on homegrown freshness and flavor. But with Mayor Gaylor Baird's active promotion of home gardening, thank you, Mayor, all right, with her From Mowing to Growing campaign, to the reclamation of brownfield plots in the Haymarket for food production, and thank you, Ed and the EPA for your conscientious efforts, and to the leasing of public land for commercial market gardening, which is a biggie. Lincoln is making a food print about where our food will come from going forward. Rather than continuing to rely exclusively on drought-stricken and wildfire-plagued California to provide the bulk of our produce, or waiting for the next breakdown of our national food distribution network like we saw with the COVID-19 crisis, Lincoln City government's leadership is taking the visionary and precautionary step of building a resilient local food system. For the first time in generations, city government is promoting urban agriculture at every level: home, yard, community garden, commercial scale, encouraging production to match our already ample food consumption. And in the process, making food growing in the city not only as normal as eating, but downright cool. The fashionably green and food smart thing to do. I grow local food. The Lincoln-Lancaster County Food Policy Council, which just celebrated its 6th anniversary, was formed to, quote, develop integrated policies that promote a healthy and sustainable local food system, end quote. What Lincoln City government is now doing is exactly what we've been angling for. The policies are now in place. The pump is primed. Let's get growing and start rustling up dinner.
Hi, I'm Taryn Serwatowski, and I've been the Brownfields Coordinator for the Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy since 2015. And since that time, I've enjoyed a working collaborative relationship with the City of Lincoln. As a tech support agency for the EPA and the environmental representative for the state of Nebraska, our mission is to protect, preserve, enhance Nebraska's land, air, water, and energy resources. And the role that the Brownfields program has in achieving that mission is to serve as a catalyst to revitalize and redevelop blighted properties. And how we achieve that is by providing resources to communities at no cost. These resources include Phase 1 environmental site assessments, which help us identify recognized environmental conditions. We conduct soil and groundwater sampling to determine if there's any contamination present. And we also conduct testing on building materials to see if there is asbestos, lead-based paint, or mold. And all of these activities, they help remove that brownfields, the environmental stigma that's attached to brownfields properties. And then that can open up a whole world of redevelopment opportunities. Our program has been fortunate to see several vacant properties across Nebraska be brought back to life and then attract millions in leveraged funding. However, our program is not successful without a community champion who's willing to take the reins and put in the effort to see that community vision become a reality. And that community champion for the city of Lincoln is Frank Ularic. I have really enjoyed working with him over the past several years, and I know that this community agriculture project has been at the forefront of his mind for quite some time. Back in 2017, he and Community Crops were looking at a vacant lot near Cooper Park, and NDE Brownfields program used some funding to test the soil to make sure it was safe for an urban garden. Unfortunately, the soil had elevated concentrations of lead, arsenic, and other contaminants. But we thought this was such a great project that we offered additional funding to help clean up the soil to bring this project into fruition. Unfortunately, the city nor Community Crops were able to obtain ownership of the property, and that project was shelved. And it was very disheartening because I thought it was such an amazing project with great potential for the community. But then Frank reached out to me last year and said he had identified another lot for this project and asked if we can do some more soil sampling. So of course I said yes, because I was happy to see this project revitalized. When we completed the soil sampling for this lot, although there was very little contamination, what we did discover is that there was building materials and demolition debris buried underneath the entire nearly 5-acre lot down to a depth of 5 feet. The costs to excavate that material, I thought, oh my gosh, this project is going to get the axe again. And I was very discouraged about that. But here we are today, thanks to the City of Lincoln's determination and the EPA's wise choice and grant selection, although I'm a little biased on that. So I am very proud to be a part of this project, and I look forward to continuing to work with the City of Lincoln to make these community visions a reality. Thank you.
Okay, I think it's a time for the big check. But I also noticed that somehow the check is coming out of my personal account, but Curtis assures me that that's not the case. So, but before I do, I just want to say that a personal note from me to the mayor and everyone else is that, you know, at EPA we care deeply about cleaning up contaminated properties, but we know that that's not the most important part of this. It's what comes after. And what comes after the cleanup. And the vision that you have here, and particularly with urban agriculture, we're really delighted and inspired by your vision here in Lincoln. And that's going to continue to make us do our job faster and quicker and better. So you inspire us. So thank you for that, Mayor, and the entire city of Lincoln. And now for the check.
Okay. And then we'll do some questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Reporters' questions.
Oh yeah, and if there are any questions from the media or anyone else, we'll be happy to take them or afterwards. But anyway, go ahead. I see a hand. For the mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, mayor?
First, I want to answer the question. What is the plan? What will be here in more specific detail? What will people expect?
Right. Well, you know, what we want to do is create, like as Mr. Chu said, the conditions for a more vibrant community. So we'll be cleaning up contaminants and allowing space for more development. That could include housing, potentially affordable housing. Of course, urban agriculture. We want to be able to allow for folks in the community to grow food and develop our resiliency and enhance our local food security. There will be, of course, a beautiful park here in not too long from now, and this is an opportunity for our community to grow right here in the built environment. And there are challenges with growing in the built environment. As mentioned, there are contaminants underground, things that we have to do, care that we have to take to set the table for that growth. And so we're just thrilled that we have this opportunity. And I do want to thank all the folks at the City of Lincoln. It's a really amazing team. This vision wouldn't be possible without all of their efforts and determination, and that does include Frank Ularich's leadership and Dan Marvin from Urban Development, and I mean so many others, Mickey Esposito, who's not here today. We are fortunate to have this opportunity to make our city bloom and grow in a positive way.
When can people start seeing action on this lot, the work
Yeah.
begin?
Frank, do you know the timing? I mean, we're going to be putting out an IFRP for this block before too long in the coming months, and Dan Marvin from Urban Development can speak more to that. Frank, Frank and Dan can come on up and talk about sort of Dan can speak to the redevelopment, and Frank can speak to the urban agriculture piece of it.
Frank and Dan, would you say your names also?
Frank, you go first.
Okay. Frank Ulrich, Sustainability and Compliance for Lincoln Transportation Utilities. The broader area has an urban ag component both in markets as well as gardening. Where we sit right here is not going to be a garden spot necessarily. We've got parkland to the east, or to the west, and some market opportunities here in the south at Haymarket that are being evaluated and vetted. The primary gardening location for commercial ag is out across the tracks on some property owned by a joint public agency adjacent to the People's City Mission that we're targeting, and that has actually very little use other than a good urban ag site. So we're looking to that facility and property for the future development of an ag property.
Where we're all standing right now is a future site that we will put out invitation for request for proposal. Again, my name's Dan Marvin. I'm the Director of Urban Development, and we would expect to get a number of submittals back when we issue that IFRP, and this site here will eventually start looking like the site behind me here, where we'll have something growing out of the ground. Won't necessarily be green, but it will provide a lot of opportunity for people to work and live and play over in the area to the west of us. So I think that's one of the aspects of this grant. And I think the other thing maybe we should also recognize is that we are in a floodplain, and so urban ag in areas in the floodplain are a unique way of creating offsets for flood storage too. So as we start thinking about how we grow our community, we need to create areas where we don't raise the ground up. We can offset the development that occurs in places like this with areas that are going to be green, and we don't increase the floodplain by creating that kind of balance between those two types of development. So that's what's so complementary about the urban ag and the development that you'll see here in the next few years on this particular site.
So the grant used just for these two plots, or no, because there's more behind the tracks? Is there
You
a
go ahead,
specific
Frank.
area?
Yes, in the grant application, which we could certainly make public, it identifies a number of areas and properties, both for assessment and phase 1 and phase 2 assessments, but also for cleanup. We feel that the ag land, as I mentioned previously, that's been characterized by NDE, as Taryn mentioned, is probably ready for a site development plan without much more investigation. But and that's why we have a multi-purpose grant, which gives us flexibility to assess, clean up as our priorities are matured.
And Frank, you said that grant will be available online somewhere. Can you send that later?
Yeah, we can send the application in, so there's more details on the background and the focus of our assessments.
Is there a timeline you set out? Like you want to have this done in 5 years, 10 years? What's kind of a tentative timeline?
That's always hard to predict, and luckily the grant has a 5-year term on it. Correct, Jennifer? So we've got some flexibility. As
3 years.
I thought MPs were 5 years, but okay, that tightens the schedule. But no problem. We've got some sites that are targeted. It'll take some while to get engineering and other aspects procured, but certainly within the 3-year time frame, we'll see some really good results.
Any other questions? Thank you all for coming, and thank you, Mr. Chu, for being here with us, and to all of your colleagues and all of the community members and leaders who have helped make this possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I just want to thank you again, Mayor. And I just wanted to make sure that you are aware that Jennifer Morris is back there, and the brownfields work that EPA has been doing with the City of Lincoln since 2005. I think we have lots of background information on our website, as well as Jennifer's a great resource for that. So thank you all for coming.